Hey guys, I'm back again and I present you now the second round of my chess championship, which I played here in Tomsk Oblast Chess Championship. And in the second round, I had black, and my opponent was a little bit stronger than in the first round. And yeah, it was an interesting game. I will just show you the moves. First e4, after that came c5, then knight f3, d6, d4, cd, knight d, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. So as you can see, now we have the knight of opening with black, and yeah, I usually play this opening. I really like it, and I think it's just objectively very good for black. And yeah, usually today the people answer with it with f3, maybe bishop e3, bishop g5, or maybe even bishop e2, which is a little bit more calmer, or bishop c4. There are a lot of moves which are playable here in this position, but usually against these moves, the setups with f3 and bishop e3, it's very good for black to play e5 and to get a very solid but also attacking position. So my opponent played f3 and I played e5. Now knight b3, this is all theory. Bishop e6. So and now my opponent, he surprised me. He played knight to d5. Usually, as I told you before, bishop e3 is here the logical move because white wants to prepare long castling. For example, bishop e3, then bishop e7, queen d2. For example, short castle, long castle, knight bd7, or for example, there are many variations. For example, knight bd7 or a5 as variations. And then white wants to attack here on the king side with g4, h4, and so on. So therefore there are some variations. Before castling, black can play h5 to prevent all these ideas with g4 and h4 from white. And I think this position is very, very complicated, and I think a lot of top players are playing this position with black. So it's very interesting. And I was expecting this actually, but he played 95. Maybe I never saw this move before in my life, and I had to think about it, about the best continuation at the board. So I continue with bishop takes d5 because, well, the knight is strong on d5, and maybe white wants to play c4 after that, and I don't like this kind of positions because after white played c4, and even if I take and white takes back with pawn, I think for me it's a little bit uncomfortable because white has more space, and I don't like that. So I took the knight and played b5 just to yeah, I didn't want that white could play c4 at this position here, and yeah, now white should continue with a4 because of course b5 is also a kind of a weakness maybe, because white could play a4 here. After that I have to play b4, and after a5 the b6 square could be very weak for me. But I thought at this position that white's d5 pawn is also weak, and maybe I can continue with knight d7 and such continuations as rook c8, queen c7, and then knight c5, and I have enough counterplay on the c file and against the d5 pawn. So yeah, that would be maybe the best possibility for white, but in this game he played g4, and I think this is a serious mistake because now he cannot really attack immediately because I didn't even castle yet, and g4 is far too early. Usually white waits and plays, like I said, bishop e3 and queen d2 and so on, but I think now the situation is a little bit more different, and white should continue, as I told you, with a4. Because now all the dark squares around the white king are weakened, the diagonal from h4 to e1. So I can just play bishop e7, and after bishop e3 I can just play knight fd7. The idea is that I threaten bishop h4 check, which would exchange the dark square bishops, and this is of course very good for me because here obviously the good bishop from white is the dark square bishop, and I would have some nice squares for my knights, for example f4 or c5, b6, and yeah, the light square bishop from white, he cannot do so much against my ideas. Okay, so queen d2, check, and now, yeah, I exchanged the bishops, and as you can see, the squares are very weak now, and of course it also slows down the attack from white, because now we already exchanged two pieces, and therefore it's hard for white to attack. And now I wanted to exchange queens because the d5 pawn is weak, the c2 pawn may be weak after that, and of course the squares on f4 and maybe e3 are also weak. So I decided to offer like the queen exchange, and the idea is when he doesn't want that, of course he didn't want that, he played queen d2. Then my idea is just to move forward with my queenside pawns, because when he will do the long castle, I will have some attacking possibilities on the queen side, because I already have my rook there, my knights and my queen, and my pawns can just go and attack, and of course he cannot castle short. That would be just not logical. So I played a5, after that came a4 is logical, but I think it's a little bit too late now, because now I can play b4 without any problems, and after a long castle I played short castle. Now bishop b5. Yeah, the bishop of course has a good square, but I think he's not that good place as it looks, because now I can just continue my idea with knight c5, and I have a good square for my knight, and yeah, he exchanged it, and now the attacking possibilities are again a little bit lower for him, and my position is just better a little bit. Yeah, now maybe he feared that I can play b3 here, so he played b3 himself, but now of course you can see that this one is so weak, this c2 pawn, and of course also this c3 square, and also this f pawn and this square. So you can see there are a lot of weaknesses in white's position that I really can use, because of course weaknesses are only for example weakened squares or weakened pawns that you can use. For example, my d6 pawn may be weak too, but white cannot attack it. He doesn't have the possibility. He doesn't have the possibility. So now I played rook a7 because I want to go to the c file. Why didn't I play knight a6? Because I didn't want to let bishop c6 happen, which would kind of block the c file, and I didn't want that, so I just do some pressure, maybe rook c7, after that queen c3, and then rook c8, the other rook, and I have some nice pressure on the c file. So he played g5 now, he wanted to try to attack me. Bishop c7, bishop c4, now I can develop my knight, because yeah, after bishop b5 back, I can just play maybe knight to b6, or yeah, rook to c8, and when he goes to c6 after that, knight to b8 again, for example. Yeah, this variation, knight to 7, and yeah, when he plays back now, I can just go this, and I don't know, if he now wants to block it, I can just attack the bishop, and I think I have a much better position here. I even win some material. And if bishop a6, yeah, it's not possible, because the c2 pawn is hanging, and yeah, that would be maybe uncomfortable. Okay, After that, he played yeah, bishop c4, and now white options are of course limited. So he tried to attack a little bit. He tried to do g6, but I think yeah, it's just desperation because I can just take it, and now I even have the open f file against the weak f3 pawn, and of course you can try h4 now, but I can just go knight f6 and after that knight h5, so I think I won't have problems here. Rook e1, yeah, okay, now some kind of rook takes e5 is threatening, but yeah, I think I can just go away with king h5. I just take everything away. Now he wants to create some threats on the king side, but I think everything is fine here. I can just, yeah, sell my rooks on the f file, bishop d3, knight f4. Now he had a nice idea with bishop takes g6, but it doesn't work. Of course, I cannot take the queen because I think this is a very pretty combination. When I would take the queen, can take on h7 with the rook. Check, I have to go away, and after that, check and check, and this will be a perpetual. So there will be a draw. A nice last idea of him, but I can just play h6, and the queen and the bishop are still attacked, so he has to go away, and I can just take bishop, takes back, and now rook f6, everything is covered. Queen goes back, and yeah, now queen takes d5, rook eg1, queen f7, queen d2, and you see that I just have I'm just some pawns up, and this should be easy one. For example, rook g6, he goes away, and now with queen f4, I can exchange queens, and this endgame of course is won. And yeah, after some moves, he resigned, and I won this game with black, and I had 2 out of 2 points at this moment.